some hold the view that, look, to the extent that you gave the indication, in their view, that there should have been prosecution by now.
Okay, so I should go first. Look, listen, straight answer. I don't, okay, feel that oral is too slow. Straight. Be very honest with you. Maybe because I'm a lawyer. That's the problem. I don't feel the cases in court, I don't think those cases, oral is slow. But where I agree, and I'm coming to the law reforms, I agree with Mr. Demlevo on the law reforms, 130%, right? Yeah, because, but let me advance the point where I have a concern. You see, where I have the concern is that I think the hands are few. We need more hands on deck so that we will roll out more cases. Because the reason I think we need more hands is that, so I look at the state attorneys, the ones helping the attorney general. It's the same old faces I'm seeing. In actual fact, a few have dropped out. We need more lawyers on board. That's why I say the very seasoned lawyers, the older ones, I think there should be a special program where they will be co-opted to go and help attorney general to move more cases forward. That's one, I agree. But not that the ones that are currently in court is the age's fault or no. There are too many technicalities, and those are some of the ones Mr. Demlevo has pointed out, right? Because the burden is on the state, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot. But maybe if we had the reverse burden, it would help. It would make it easier. And we used to have that law, Kwame Nkrumah's time. That was the law we're using on corruption. So you hear Republic versus Nkunsa, okay, and others. There are many cases where we use, that was a reverse burden we were using. So if we find you with this bottle and we think it's corruption, then we'll ask you to justify. So if you can't justify, straight. So you would have to show where you
guilty until proven innocent.
Exactly. And that's the law we're using. Scandinavia, Norway, also some countries, they are still using it. We jettisoned it and say, oh, no, we want to do that. The government should prove you are innocent until proven guilty, which is more difficult. Right? And there was a second point he raised, the internal audit agency people. Yes, it's true. I'm doing some work and I spoke with people in that sector, and they said that the current structure where the internal auditor is embedded in the institutions, so that these internal auditors' appointments, the promotions, right, is dependent on the head of the institution. Things like development, maybe he needs to career progression, he wants to travel out for further studies, etc. The head of the institution has to approve, etc. So it compromises them. So let's take them out. So there was a bill, the MPP had a bill, but because of changing government, maybe I don't know if Mr. Ofosu Kwakye has what do you call it, some visibility on it. But there was a bill. I remember Dr. Drew Osai, the former head of the agency, was pushing. They were trying to get a bill passed, but now we don't know where it is. So perhaps government should look at it and pass that new bill to make the internal auditors more independent. Take them out of the institution. Take them out of the institution. Let them be independent. Okay, because this current structure, who born dog? The man wants promotion, and at the same time, he wants to flag things that a chief executive is doing wrongly. No, the two don't work together. He's thinking of his wife and family first. So he would rather help the chief executive to steal than to stand straight, stand tall, and then he doesn't get promoted, or he will even be transferred to some very deserted parts of this country, Siberia. If you hear the word Siberia, they take you to a place where nobody, forgotten lands.
So you agree with anybody who say oral is dead?
I disagree, strongly disagree.
Why is that?
Oh, there are at least 7 cases in court. So let's go over.
And that delivered.
No, it hasn't under-delivered. No. You see, but I've said that to speed up, we still have 3 years. To speed up, yes. We will say under-delivered and at the end. So it looks like we want to run ahead of ourselves, but I can see that at the current rate, to avoid under-delivery, let's ramp up the numbers, more prosecutors, more investigators. So strongly, as for that one, I can see, and this is not the first time I'm saying it, that the Attorney General will need more hands. That one, he can't deny it. Because you see, the Attorney General is one person. He has a good deputy, Sremsai, but those are two individuals. We will go to court all the time, right? So the experience of these are two, no matter the number of assistants you have, etc., still, the oral cases are many. They are above 2,000, but we also realize that not all of them are prosecutable immediately. We need more investigators. Yes, we need more investigators. Not all those cases can be. Sorry?
No. Because the report from the presidency says 36 cases.
You're talking about
no, he means a report, what we submitted to the president. The cases were about 2,500, but not all had enough meat. A lot of them didn't have.
The ones that have meat, of course.
The ones that had meat, I think about 200.
In the reports you submitted, let me read it to you. I have it here.
When
I get my turn. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. So what is very clear is that we will need more numbers to avoid under delivery. But as to whether ORA is under delivery for now, we can't say so. No, to be very honest. Oh, I'll be the first to say it because I mean, why? Why would I be shy to say? Because if we don't say the truth, we will not make progress. Right now, it's too early to say ORA will under deliver. And let's be very, very clear, please. That statement that has been attributed that ORA said would recover 21 billion. Please, that's not what Okujeto said. He said if. You see, it's a conditional clause. He said, if we can prosecute and deal with everything, if. So it's a conditional clause. He didn't say we will definitely get those out. Look at this. He says, if. And it's clear that for those over 2,000 cases, you are now going to investigate. Remember that on the committee, we were not investigating. We were just receiving complaints. So receive the complaints, compile them, and most critically, you see, sometimes people forget. I keep saying that the president's setting up of the oral thing is a master stroke because you needed to keep the hope alive. You see, we are just booted at the MPP for all the shenanigans, the bad governance they were engaged in.
The oral came before booting them out.
Sorry?
The oral came before.
Yeah, it was a promise. So, yes, it was a promise that there would be oral. So the moment MPP were booted out and people kept clamoring, baying for the blood of the MPP people that yes, this bad governance, get them in jail.
Be clear. The oral was set up before the elections, isn't it?
No, after the election, but before, yeah, you are close. Before the president was sworn in.
Yes,
before the
president. But the committee was before swearing.
Yes, the committee was set on the 18th of December. Okay. 18th of December, just a few.
Mr. Nomolowo, I wanted to make a quick intervention. He has to leave us.
Okay.
Mr. Nomolowo, quick. I saw your hand up. Quick.
Yeah. Yes, I want to say to Mr. Honorable Abiyakubi that if what I said about making money out of the delay is not correct, I agree. I'll take it back. But the truth is that at least it favors...
I supported you. It happens. I'm a practitioner and I'm saying I've seen it.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
No. I've supported
you. That is what you do. That is yours. But my practice...
it is true that we know of cases that have delayed over maybe 5-6 years, and when the change in government came, the cases were discontinued. That is what some of us can.
Okay. Sorry. Let me hear you end your point quickly, please.
So the point I'm making is that not necessarily because lawyers make money, and if that is not true, I take it back. But the fact remains that we are aware of a lot of these corruption-related cases that have traveled more than 4 years, 5 years, and when there are changes in government, they are discontinued, and that is what we must prevent.
I see. You put, thank you so much. Thank you. And I kept referencing that refrain about the verdict on oral being described as a dead promise. Most of it was referenced, some members of the MPP for that matter. Okay. But then again, quick one. And then I'll come to Kofi on this.
ORA is all-encompassing. So as part of the ORA agenda, maybe we need to remind the president about, I've already mentioned the Internal Audit Agency bill, right? Then the Code of Conduct. Yes, I understand, Mr. Ofosu. We've been chasing in Parliament to get a copy of the bill. But trying to get a copy of the bill is difficult. Look, I think we should remind. Yes, we should remind Parliament that, look, listen, it's not up to them to keep the bill. By our constitution, when a bill, before a bill is dealt with in Parliament, it must be published in the Gazette. So you go to Assembly Press. All these years, anytime you go there, we don't have it. Please, the clerk of Parliament must be, maybe we will have to sue him for him to. No, because it's unbecoming. All these years, you go there, they say there's no copy. But the law is that before you deal with a bill in Parliament, it must be published in the Gazette. Wait, let's read this article 106 for you. Yes, it's 1066. When a bill.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you just move. I'll read out the appropriate clause.
I'm going to Kofi Toto on this because reference has been made to the position that some members of your party hold about oral, over promising, under delivering, and literally being dead now because not much is seen. Well, why do you make that conclusion when there's a lot going on?
First of all,
please, Kofi, before you do so, let me just read the clause so that because Article 106, Clause 2, it says that no bill other than such a bill, that's apart from the urgent ones, as referred to in paragraph A of Article 108 of this Constitution, shall be introduced in Parliament unless B, it has been published in the Gazette at least 14 days before the date of its introduction in Parliament. So you can't take any bill to Parliament until at least it's been in the Gazette for 14 days. Assembly Press, just next to Accra Poly. And all these years, you go and ask them, we don't have a copy, go to Parliament, they have a copy. Please, Parliament should take note. You can't deal with a bill in Parliament unless it has been published in the Gazette at least 14 days. There's an exception where, of course, they've shown the exception.
Thank you very much. Yes, Kobe,
okay.
Please.
Yeah, so, Alfred, it's not just MPP people saying that oral is dead. Look, if you go on social media, even members of the NDC, out of their own frustration, they will say that, for example, you write something and an NDC person will come and write on your wall. You, if not for the fact that oral is slow and they are not working, you should have been in jail. All over, on social media. That is their refrain. They are even frustrated themselves, their own party people. So let's not create the impression that MPP is saying oral is dead. Even NDC people and a larger section of the public feel that oral is dead. Because why? It was the most high-handed, pathetic, reckless institution or committee ever.
How do you describe
why
oral
not?
Why
not?
With
Look, my brother,
that they haven't done
my brother,
anything,
I believe it was in your own studio here. It was in your own studio here when Sam George said that people are fleeing with money and that they know people who are sending money to other countries. And he said, oh, even next week, he said, even last week, I know somebody who was sending 100. Kpebu was supporting him.
Yes, he was here.
So he was here.
Name that person. No, I didn't. You didn't.
You didn't name that person.
I meant that oral word.
After the point is, you created an impression, an expectation. You created a demand. People should go for the blood of MPP. Look, there were even comments that go to the airport and stand at the airport and make sure nobody leaves the country. You create that impression, you create that expectation, and you come and tell us, well, Kpebu, what are you telling us? you are the choir master.
Yeah, support.
What are you telling us? You cannot, in your right conscience, be happy with where oral is.
So propaganda.
Look, Kofi Boakye, let's take him aside. He's NDC. Let's take Okujeto Ablakwa. He's NDC. Kpebu, you claim you are not NDC.
Yeah, I'm not NDC.
Okay, fine. We'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Dom Level,
yeah.
At least he claims he's neutral.
Yeah.
The two of you should be worried that you were added to a propaganda tool. Because you see, Kpebu, you are a lawyer. And you should know that you should never participate in an exercise that judges or sort of creates the impression that people are thieves even before they have their day in court. But you participated in that. You participated.
To keep the hope alive and to prepare
hope in the absence of justice, hope in the absence of people's rights.
Propaganda tool.
Of course, it's a useless tool.
Oh,
Oh
really?
yes.
You don't understand governance.
What governance?
You don't.
No, please let me talk. Look, see, here's the thing. Now Kpebu is permutating, telling us it was if. Really?
Yeah, he said conditional clause.
Really,
he said if.
Really?
Watch, please project the statement. He said if, and it's conditional. It's a conditional clause.
If what? If what?
If all the cases are prosecuted. So once we've not yet finished prosecuting, you can hold him.
You see, you said
there
this.
are 7 cases in court. Too.
You said this.
7. All right. Skytrain, the National Service one, and
Skytrain is what? 2 million.
Yeah, Aludiba. Okay. National Service is over 400 million.
2 million.
National Service is
and
over
then you included. Let me talk.
Okay.
You included Bank of Ghana.
Because I would spend
You included Bank of Ghana, the building. You included the cathedral. Should I continue? You included drip machines. And these are even projects that have been done or equipments that have been procured. But you included them as though...
drip machine already has been shown that it was overpaid by 2 million. GRA is on the Zoom Lion's neck now.
So for the drip...
You see, we have
1 second.
2 million.
So
$2 million.
That's
over 30 million Ghana.
So it was
over 20 million Ghana.
It's not Zoom Lion.
Yeah, it's a company.
I mean, I just want...
Yeah, he's involved in it, so he can't write. When we say Zoom Lion, that's
I want to mention the specific
company. Yes.
It's the JA Plant Pope.
Yes, and when we say Zoom Lion, I'm sure it's easier. No, effective communication. If you say JA Plant, many people will not understand. But the moment you say Zoom Lion, everybody understands. So effective communication. I don't come here to do esoteric things. But thanks for mentioning the technical name.
I'm only buttressing the point you are making that.
Yes.
This is a company owned by the same person, known with a particular
yes.
But then there's a specific company that was involved in that contract.
Yes. But Zoom Line is sufficient for effective communication.
So you claim that project was overpaid. So was it the overpayment that you were seeking as part of the oral?
Oh, but was it vindicated? $2 million. That's at least 20 million Ghana. Kofi, you know how many people work and don't even make 100,000 Ghana a year?
Let me talk.
100,000. You know how many?
The point I am making is that you told Ghanaians, and this is from the presidency, oral committee report presented. Estimated value of 36 cases reviewed at 20.49 billion. February 10th, 2025. This is the presidency. 36 cases estimated at 20.49 billion.
Now, why you say this?
As in the presidency.gov, the website of the presidency. So from Felix's office. I'm sure, Felix, you are the one responsible for the website. This is what it says. That oral committee report presented estimated value of 36 cases reviewed at $20.49 billion. Averagely, each case is supposed to give about $583 million. This was the promise. This was the promise. So when Ghanaians ask questions about the expectation and what you have delivered, they have a right. Felix, I believe in Parliament or so, mentioned that they have frozen assets of 1.5 billion.
We'll get into all of that.
Oh, we get into all of that. But that constitutes 0.75% of this amount. Not even 1%. And it's frozen. It's not even money recovered. Because the $600 million the president referenced was through Yoko. But at least what Felix
Ghana
referenced...
It's not dollars.
600 million Ghana cedis. That the president referenced in his State of the Nations address was through Yoko. But what Felix referenced was 1.5 billion frozen assets. And not even recovered. That's less than 1% of what they promised. So even if we go with your condition of if, it is still a promise that you are going to review 36 cases with the potential of giving Ghanaians X amount, which is approximately 21 billion. So even if we go by your hope, at least give us 20%, give us 30%, give us 40%, less than 1% of frozen assets. So Ghanaians have a right to be worried that what is happening. You set out to sort of embarrass people. You set out to destroy people, their reputation, their image, their rights enshrined in the Constitution. That's what you did. So people, when you talk about hope, talk about the right of people. It's not just a matter of hope. The Constitution, first and foremost, enshrines the right of every single individual. So you cannot, on the back of hope, destroy their rights. You can't do that.
Okay.
So, look, Ghanaians have an expectation. They told us, even when we asked them, where are you going to find monies to do some of your activities? They told us, Ora will give us 21 billion.
Hey. Who said that?
But don't say, when I'm done, I'll give you several instances of comments that they made. That Ora money is coming. 21 billion is coming.
You look for it. And,
yeah, I'll look for it, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you. So you have dashed the hopes of people.
I see.
That is the bottom line.
Quite a number of questions, and I had you all speak because there's a lot that Phyllis Kwakye Ofosu would have to respond to regarding Operation Recover All Loot. Sure. It's just a propaganda tool that was deployed for you to win this election.
I will start by dismissing that propaganda from Kofi and his folks. You see, that whole propaganda is hinged on that. Let me start by saying that no MPP person will ever support Ura.
He says he's
No. I'm saying that no MPP person will ever support Ura, maybe with the exception of a few. So Kofi and his hardcore MPP propagandists will do everything in this world to discredit Ura because there's a political motive for it. But there are more reasonable elements in society who look forward to improvements in the way that public finances are managed, who retain hope that through such activity, first of all, we'll be able to punish those responsible and then put in place measures to avoid their recurrence. That is where the conversation should be focusing. But that's what the propaganda Kofi and Co are showing. To begin with, nobody had said that we're going to recover 21 billion. We speak about the value of the cases. In other words, the projects for which the corruption allegations have arisen total this amount. So let me give you an example. National Service, when we started, we thought the amount involved was around 600 million, 600 million cedis. Then the Auditor General did an audit and found that up to 2 billion Ghana cedis, which in today's terms is $2 billion, had been embezzled through the National Service scheme. However, if you hold the people, you are unlikely to get 2 billion because they may have squandered the money or done other things that make it impossible for you to get as a country. So it is what you get from them that you recover and give to the state. So that propaganda.
So
these are the projects involved.
This is what the oral preparatory
absolutely.
During the and we all concede, right? This is a public document.
So take the Bank of Ghana, for example.
I'm coming.
Alfred, take the Bank of Ghana, for example.
Cost of financial scandals listed. Yes. It's an estimate.
So I'm on the floor, Kofi. I kept
no problem.
You see, Alfred,
when you are done,
the Bank of Ghana building, I've recently found out that it actually cost $400 million.
$400 million?
Exactly.
That's lower than what is
yes, I've recently discovered that it actually cost $400 million, not the $250 million we had initially thought.
The new Bank of Ghana.
Absolutely. So the building is there. How are you ever going to hold anybody and get $400 million when the building has been put up and it's a state property? So if you were ever to go into it and we're going to do recovery, you were only going to get a part of it. Is it realistic today that you will get $2 billion from Beauty Owari or Mr. SLC? So we need to cut out the propaganda and focus on facts. Alfred, what had happened was this. There were unprecedented levels of corruption. In fact, you in the media every day fed us with corruption scandals to a point where people even became fed up. So there was a need to do something about this sort of corruption and rot. So the NDC, as an alternative to the government that was supervising the rot, said that if we ever got opportunity to run the country again, we were going to implement Operation Recover All Loot, which could only have meant that we will use the legal process to hold those responsible accountable. And then once we have succeeded in holding them accountable, recover what it is that they are alleged to have stolen. That is what it was about. In opposition, there was nothing we could do until we got power. So President Mahama wins elections, and then on 18 December, that is in the period that he was waiting to formally be sworn in as president, he sets up the Oral Committee to gather as much information as they can get. The Oral Committee itself didn't have any power or locus to prosecute anybody. Yes. And that was never what was said about their work. Indeed, I issued a statement. My exact words were that they were a preparatory committee. So we put together people we believed had capacity to help with it. When they started their work, he will tell you, they got over 2,000 allegations against people. They sifted through and saw that up around 280 of them had some basis.
Out of the 2,000?
Out of the 2,000. Because it's not everything that people come to tell you that you run it, because you would run yourself around, because really there will be no substance to it. So they brought 280 cases in a report. That report you cannot take to court to secure any conviction. Yeah. You needed to get accredited state agencies close with the power and capacity to do investigations, and then put together dockets to give to the Attorney General, who would review and satisfy himself that indeed there is basis to prosecute, and then he will proceed. So the claim that Oral is dead is blatantly false. It is MPP propaganda intended to discredit an exercise that will expose wrongdoing under them. That is all. Regrettably, there are elements in the NDC too who have taken the bait.
No, but you're saying that there's really no basis for even persons within the NDC.
Yeah, but so I'm going to demonstrate to you that there's no basis for it. Listen, I'm going to demonstrate to you. I'm going to demonstrate to you. Listen, no, I'm going to demonstrate to you that there's no basis. I understand the desire to have speedy prosecutions because of the extent of the rot. Indeed, if you are an NPP person and you are citing an NDC person's expression of frustration as reason why you are happy, you are actually indicting yourself. You are saying that people are impatient for you to be gold for corruption. That's what that you are saying. And it is not a flattering position to be. You are admitting that you were corrupt, except that nothing has been done to you yet. But the point I wish to make is that what could Oral do? It was always going to be premised on the rule of law. And I was here 2 weeks ago and I told you that nowhere in the Oral promise did we ever promise to use extrajudicial means. We can only use the judicial process.
Domelo, for reference, the certain pace at which
of course, so I'm coming to explain that
Oral should have
I'm coming to explain it. You can only work with what you have. We for decades we have all lamented the slow pace of cases in court. It is a decades old.
And the tool in the game is evident.
Absolutely, and the decades old is a decades old criticism leveled at the judiciary of Ghana. It's nothing new. So that criticism itself is not an indictment on Oral. But you see, the government of Ghana cannot come and tinker with the judiciary for the sole purpose of achieving a political end. The most we can do is to use the law to see if we can carry out some reforms to make the process a bit more satisfactory than before. So indeed, I have sat in cabinet. A bill to reintroduce the tribunals has been approved by cabinet. It should be in parliament by now. Once it is approved, the tribunals will be brought back. And that will ensure some to, among other things, deal with some of these matters and matters involving galamsey and other offenses so that we can speed up a bit. But a slow judicial process is not the same as inefficiency on the part of government in implementing Oral. So what has happened since Oral came? The Oral cases were spread amongst 3 agencies: the police CID, the NIB, and the Yoku.
Before you go on to that, how do you answer the question? You knew about this slow judicial process, but yet made promises that were hinged on a certain pace at which.
No, but who spoke about pace? First of all, who said, for instance, that we will jail everybody under 1 year? Who said that? If you can give me that, we will move on. So what is the basis for saying that if after 1 year, everybody...
You have the power to jail people.
No, it's just my word of expression. What I'm saying is that, so if after 1 year, as we have now, everybody has not been put in jail, how do you say that Oral has failed? Did we ever say that in 1 year we jail everybody? Did we ever say that we jail everybody in 1 week or even in 10 years?
No.
You understand me? If you let me land, you understand the point I'm making? So it's important to dismiss propaganda and separate it from facts. So what have the agencies been up to? NIB, for instance, they have looked into 27 cases. They have produced dockets. In other words, they have invited people, questioned them, cautioned them, and built a docket and presented same to the Attorney General for action. Iyoko, they have over 40 such cases. In the case of NIB, over 43 people have been affected, including Kpebu Ajimamenu, who only this week was all over the place claiming that nobody had touched him.
But what happened to him?
Meanwhile, he had been brought in, he had been questioned, he had been cautioned.
When did this happen?
Last year.
Caution on what exactly?
When you are cautioned, it simply means that they take your statement, indicating that you have been brought under a certain...
Question
Yeah,
caution
on two
what?
cases. On two
cases.
cases. The Sputnik V vaccine case, and then the Frontier case involving COVID-19 testing at the airport. That has happened. Of course, it is not in all cases that it is highlighted. There are instances where political party operatives mass up and they get lawyers to say it, so then it becomes public. But not all. In fact, I can give you a rundown. For instance, the National Service Authority case, it involves gift to Awari Mensah, and I don't do this with satisfaction.
No,
it is necessary. I don't do this to embarrass or humiliate anybody. But it is necessary to so that people stop. Exactly. So gift to Awari Mensah and OCSB, National Service Authority. Iyoko finished it, gave the docket to Attorney General. He has done it. He is in court. Indeed, I think last week or so, the court indicated that we're going to do case management. It is part of the process. And lawyer Kpebu and Martin Kpebu will bear me out. The Sputnik V case, Kpebu Ajimamenu, I've told you. Indeed, as I speak, 2 dockets are ready. And in the coming weeks, the Attorney General will take him to court and charge him for these 2 cases. Again, the Accra Sky Train project, it involves Solomon Asamoah, who was the CEO of GIF, and then Professor Amayo Kunfi. So they are also in court. Now, there's a case involving SML. Even though the Attorney General, the Special Prosecutor is dealing with another case. There's another case that the Attorney General is dealing with, involving Emmanuel Kofi Nti, Dr. Isaac Kressel, and Mr. Christian Tetesoti. There's a free Wi-Fi case involving Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe, and he himself has publicly said that he has been invited, questioned, and a docket has been prepared. There's a gentleman called Opioluwa Omotayo Ojo. I suspect that he's Nigerian. Benjamin Kofi Jesse, William Entry Dakun, and Matilda Ewia Azuma. They are the persons of interest in the free Wi-Fi matter. There's a National Lottery Authority case involving Kofi Osameyaw, Henry Kwame Asare Wontumi, and Derek Bisi Apia. There's Buankra Inland Ports involving Kweku Foye-Siama, who was a former transport minister, Justice Amu, John Bernard Cranton York, and Michael Achagwe Luguje. Pardon me if I've mispronounced the name. Then the Drape case. It's a matter that people have been called on. The rise of Mohammed Amin Andam, the former finance minister, and Irene Nantoshi, the former administrator.
They've been called
and questioned. The former administrator of this Assembly's Common Fund. There could be 19 Frontiers case, Kpebu Ajimamenu and Samuel Bansa. The Pualugu Multipurpose Dam, Dr. Owusu Efeyaku, the former Agric minister, Wilson Kwabena Dankwa, I beg your pardon, Al-Hassan Alolo Muntaka, I believe he was in the vice president's office. Yes. National ambulance case, Emmanuel Owusu Buedu.
Okay.
Mathematical set, that's a full expression. Sarah Femi Bedie Tuasante, I believe is the spouse of the president's the former presidential secretary, Mr. Asante Bedie Tu. Kwejo Daku Mensa, Benjamin Kofi Jesse, Philip Tetepadi, and Matthew Poku Prempe.
This is the mathematical set.
This is a mathematical set issue. The Moshoso rice case, there was an issue about importation of some rice that was not fit for purpose or something. David Eje Miensa, Simon Eje, Eli Kulim Dogbe, and Patrick Ohini Ufori. Then there's a duplicative digitalization, which is Ghana Health Service and National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Patrick Kuma Buaji. West Blue Judgment Debt, it involves Kenofoyata, who, as I speak, is a fugitive, has fled the jurisdiction. And then there's a 13th African Games. I could go on and on and on and on. So anybody who comes to take, for instance, they've been called, interrogated, and these are cases on which dockets have been prepared. And so the Attorney General has to look through it and then determine a date that is suitable to go to court. If you go to Iyoko, there are some of the cases that were not part of oral. You can only discover them when you come into government, like the National Signals Bureau thing. It was never an oral. In fact, there were many people who didn't even know Mr. Dubois was even a public official. But when we came to power and we got wind of it, we looked into it. Indeed, he was arrested in March 2025. By April, he was in court. The Attorney General has said that he will call 5 witnesses. Three of them are done. He's left with 2. So that they can conclude their case, and then Mr. Dubois will open their case. That is a normal judicial process. My brother, Honorable Apia Kubi, is here. He is a lawyer for Wontumi, and he will testify that in the case of Wontumi, actually, I think they've done, you are supposed to do a service of no case or something, if I'm not mistaken. All the state's witnesses have testified. So the state has made its case. The onus is now on them to either contest the state case through a submission of no case, which is normal. In the Atufosin case, he made a submission of no case. So it is normal judicial procedure. The national service case, sorry, that one too, I told you that they are doing case management. It's part of the buffer stock case. There are at least 3 people who are in court over it. Abdul Hanan and his wife, and then I think another what do you call it? So the Attorney General has gone step by step to ensure that this is done. Again, in terms of recovery, when the president said Iyoko had recovered 600 million Ghana cedis, there were those who said, oh, we should publish the list. I clarified that apart from oral, Iyoko is an established organization that deals with regular crime, money laundering, tax evasion, carjacking, cross-border crime, and all that. So in their normal routine course of work, they've done 642 million Ghana cedis recovery. In 2024, they did 186 million recovery. So this one actually is an improvement on that. But in terms of oral, the only time, again, there are 2 lawyers here who will bear me out. The only time you can recover is when the person has been convicted. What you can do in the interim is that you freeze the assets to protect it, so that in the event that in the course of the trial, they don't divert it and move it outside of the jurisdiction. Indeed,
that is why I asked you that question, whether you have the power to convict. And I'm saying
no, I mean the court, yes, the court. When the court convicts,
your mandate
is prosecution. That's all. And that is what we are doing.
Yes.
But I'm telling you what steps have been. Every case that has been investigated or is in court, they have taken steps to ring fence the assets. Indeed, there have been instances where some of those whose assets have been frozen have contested. They've said that the assets don't belong to them, and therefore the state cannot purport. They are allowed to do so. It's part of the judicial process. Everybody accused must be given sufficient opportunity to defend themselves. In the case of lawyer P. Akubi's client, Wontumi, he would tell you his assets have been frozen.
How much of his assets?
Indeed, I regret to have to. Sorry about it, but
no, the matter is still subjudice. The matter is still subjudice.
Fine.
No, you are allowed to mention those facts.
So he has. Look, we discovered for instance. No, it's not about.
Please go ahead.
I'm not. Let me also make it clear. I'm not pronouncing.
No, I'm not saying.
I'm not pronouncing on the substantive piece. I'm only telling you the facts. I'm telling you the action that the state has taken. So, for instance, on the 8th of January, 2025. It was found that about 50 million Ghana cedis had been paid him from Cocoa Board.
Yeah.
Cocoa Board
for some work that he said to have done. He moved 30 million of that to purchase some securities. In other words, bonds, I think, treasury bills. And then about 23 million to purchase or set up an insurance company.
Hey, man.
When was this?
Oh, this was in January, February.
Last year.
Yes. So all these assets have been frozen, as I speak. Indeed, again, look, even his mobile money account has been frozen.
Chairman, won't
yes.
mobile money account.
Even his mobile money account has been frozen. Unless he sets up another one or use another conduit, he cannot use mobile money, receive or send. So that is the extent to which the state has gone to ring fence these assets, pending the determination of the case. How can anybody see this and say Oral has died? The other issue too is that it is important to do thorough investigations. The reason being that it costs money to prosecute people. There may be cases where you suspect strongly that wrongdoing has occurred, but you may not find the evidence. Yeah. In that case, you don't go at all. You suspect strongly that there must be some wrongdoing, but either the evidence has been so well concealed, or that the information available is sketchy and scanty, so you can't go to court with it. In that case, even if you have that suspicion, you cannot go, because it costs money, it costs time to prosecute people. It is state resources that are used to do the prosecution. So if you are not absolutely certain, you cannot go there and waste anybody's time. So it is not fair to say that Oral has not died. And if those who are most affected by Oral, MPP appointees, are saying that it has died, you must understand the political context within they are saying so. So I implore all Ghanaians to support the effort to sanitize the system by holding people who are believed to have offended the state through corruption to account. And then, more importantly, put in the system going forward to ensure that this sort of thing does not recur. That, for me, is where the conversation should be going. But this talk about 21, so if 21 billion has not been recovered, then all aspects. That is
because
not
you have an expectation of Oral.
Sure.
And yet you are having to deal with the weaknesses in the judicial
You see,
system.
again, there are two
Does that
strands.
concern
You see, there are
you
two strands. We must be
this
careful.
is-
You see, we must be careful not to allow governments to overreach. So
Or
that,
interfere.
Or interfere in the judiciary. Look, one of the criticisms that we leveled against the MPP was that they were interfering with the judiciary. And I'm sure Professor Adman, Bafo Adjumandua has had occasion as an analyst, a respected analyst, to comment on these matters many, many times because the media would reach him for comment. We have said that. I personally have gone on public record to criticize judicial performance and accuse the MPP of tinkering with the judiciary for some outcomes. We cannot come to power.
Well, you've done same.
No. Listen, even the judiciary are not beyond reproach. They are not beyond accountability. So if it is found that the Chief Justice has done things that offend the law and the process is undertaken through constitutional... I beg your pardon. Please. When you sack Charlotte say nobody asks you what is. So you cannot come here and purport. You cannot mount the moral high ground. You cannot mount the moral high ground. Charlotte say was a constitutionally... Charlotte say was the head of a constitutional body. They were an independent body. Yet you removed her.
Even the substantive are not even of the same standard.
Why does it have to be of the same standard? What are you talking about? What are you also talking about? You have the right. I beg your pardon. No. I'm saying that.
I travel over 100,000 of our money.
Let me make a point. I'm saying that you, Kofi, and the MPP,
how many people don't earn 100,000 a year?
Cannot be the determinants of what should constitute somebody's removal. You removed Charlotte Osei. We disagreed vehemently. People even went to court, yet you removed her. So if the Chief Justice of Ghana is deemed to have offended the law and the constitution is followed to remove her, it is in order. That does not mean that you have tinkered with the judiciary. When you remove Charlotte Osei, did you tinker with the Electoral Commission? Is that what you did? So the mere removal of the head does not mean that the judiciary is no longer independent. Indeed, since the new Chief Justice was installed, has the NDC not lost major cases in court? Under you, I beg your pardon. In your time, even the mere announcement of a panel told everybody how the case would go. Look, let me give you a typical example. Let me give you a typical example. You see, by a stroke of a pen of the Attorney General writing an application to the court, the panel can be changed. We were told, for instance, there was an instance in this country where a judge held Kennedy Japon in contempt for something that he said. Okay? Kennedy Japon went to complain that the judge is the one against whom he made the statement. And therefore, if he appeared before him, there was likelihood of bias. The judge was changed, was he not? Yet when the former Supreme Court judge, Honyonuga, if I'm not mistaken, went to make politically motivated statements in the Volta region, and Opuni complained, he was still made to sit on the case until he went on retirement. The judge who came and said that he was going to start the case anew, within a month he was transferred. You understand the point I'm making? So the MPP cannot be lecturing anybody. No problem. But I did that to straighten the record. That their pension, I beg your pardon. No problem. But the point I'm actually defending the judiciary here. I am saying that yes, you are the ones who think that what do you call it? You determine for us what is right, what is wrong. I'm saying that we won't have any of it. The point is this: the judiciary.
There was a personal contribution to the discussion.
So I've made a. No. The point I'm making is that we cannot say that because we are unhappy about the way the judiciary operates, we should tinker with it.
I think that's
it is an independent institution. That is why when the president had concerns about the slow pace of action on Auditor General's report, what he did was to invite the Chief Justice, the Auditor General, the Attorney General to a meeting to discuss what can be done to hasten the process. Then the Chief Justice said that they can do ABC. Indeed, if I'm not mistaken, he has done that. He has set up a special court to try Galamsey cases and all that. So that is how you do it. But government cannot on its own insist that we don't like the approach of the judiciary. So we have sacked every judge, or we have abolished courts, or we have introduced new courts. That cannot be done. But oral can never be said to have died, simply because those against whom it was set up are saying that it has died. They are not the ones who determine it. Let the facts speak. Again, people are even saying that after 1 year there's no prosecution. When the facts show that is not the case, there is prosecution, and more prosecutions are going to follow. No, but conviction is determined by the courts. And as Honorable Apiakubi has been at pains to say all morning, Our remit ends with prosecution. That is what we have done. It is for the court to determine whether the case we have made can master scrutiny or that the defenses provided by the accused are sufficient to free them.
There's a question in this regard that if the rights of conviction ends with the courts, then why were some persons described as candidates for jail?
Why?
By some persons.
Alfred, would it be the first time? Let me tell you something. Alfred Wontumi, an auditor general did a report, and then I think it was Kennedy Japan who found that his name had been mentioned in respect of some judgment day payments. The MPP composed songs. Okay, they started for 1.5 years. Every day after Wontumi was the subject of discussion on TV. They did not compose songs. Why? Would it be the first time that politicians have been accused?
Okay,
no. Would it be the first time in our history that politicians have been accused of corruption and they have been dragged? Why? President Mahama, did the MPP not claim that he had built hotels in Dubai? He did not call him names in respect of Airbus. What were the outcomes of those matters? So you see, let the MPP not go about saying that people have said that people are candidates. It is not the first time. But you see, you must separate political claims by political operatives from the word of the leader, from the word of those who actually have responsibility to undertake this matter, this activity. It is the Attorney General. What has the Attorney General said? Sometimes when the Attorney General gives briefings, okay? Sometimes when the Attorney General, sometimes when the Attorney General gives briefings, they say that the Attorney General has convicted people.
Okay.
But we know that the Attorney General doesn't convict people.
Right.
You understand the point I'm making? So the claim that Oral has died cannot stand scrutiny.
One lawyer whose client is in this matter. I needed you to speak to a number of these issues.
I hear you.
Because, and you had raised concern about, it appears the Auditor General or the Attorney General is under pressure to secure what? Convictions. That's why you are having some accused persons being turned into prosecution witnesses. What's your concern with that?
I have been speaking generally about the process of prosecution and where I find discomfort in the performance of the Attorney General's Department in the prosecution of cases. And this is where I have complained about accused persons being turned into witnesses, prosecution witnesses. And I'm not only referring to any particular case. I'm talking about generally if we undertake that direction, the dangers that confront us as a country. We will have situations where accused persons even admit that I have committed A, B, C, D offense.
Yes.
The next morning, he becomes a prosecution witness.
Yes.
And becoming a prosecution witness, he would have signed a non-prosecutorial agreement with the Attorney General. They are allowed processes. Yes. But fancy the person who has admitted having committed an offense. Because of his desperation to get out of prosecution, he approaches me, Attorney General, that I want to be your witness. And for that reason, let me sign a non-prosecutorial agreement with you and leave me out of prosecution. Now, I'm going to bring Mr. Kwakye, who was an accomplice with me, who even encouraged me to do ABCD, that is criminal. Then the confessed criminal becomes a witness and therefore not facing criminal charges. Then Kwakye, who may or may not have done anything, is brought in as the accused person proper. And that my evidence is going to go in support of the prosecution against that alleged conspirator. How fair and how judicious are we in leaving the confessed criminal out and bringing in somebody that the confessed criminal is nominating into the political, into the judicial platform? Okay. And I'm saying that if that becomes a tool, chances are that criminals, once they say, I am going to be a prosecution witness, he is out. And if he doesn't like you for anything, say, oh, it was Martin Kpebu who encouraged me to do A, B, C, D, which was criminal. Then Apia Kubi, who has confessed to be the criminal, is left out, and an innocent Martin Kpebu is rather brought in as an accused person. And then Martin Kpebu is prosecuted. And the worst case scenario, he is convicted, sent to jail. Is that a criminal justice system that we want to sustain in the country? Let me end. Well, how about a scenario where 3 of us are charged for an offense? Then Prof will go, I want to be a prosecution witness. He is left off. Martin goes, I want to be the second. He is left off. And the Apiakubi goes, I want to be also a prosecution witness. So where will be the trial?
Doesn't happen.
Is it going to also be the case that when Martin and Prof goes, the 2 of them go and they are admitted as prosecution witness, Andy comes and they say, no, Andy, you cannot be prosecution witness.
Because he didn't come early.
Hey.
If he gets enough, the next person says he doesn't need it. Well, he should have come early.
I'm complaining about such a system. Wait a minute. So you having been the confessed criminal, because you were first to approach the Attorney General, all your crimes are washed away. And no. Okay. You have confessed that I have done ABCD.
Well, you see that the case is
and you see that the case is against you. So you run to the Attorney General. You tell Attorney General, I was the person who did it. Let's say murder. I murdered him, but I murdered him with the encouragement of Andy Apiakubi. But I want to be a prosecution witness against Andy Apiakubi. And then he becomes, and then I come back to, in the course of the deliberations, Prof also goes. He's also admitted as a prosecution witness. And I'm the third person to go, having been charged of an abatement of the crime.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the decision to accept the offer of an accused to be prosecution witness is taking on the weight of the information that the person has, is it not? As to whether it's going to add some weight.
Unfortunately not.
Case.
Unfortunately not.
How's
because
that possible?
Unfortunately not, because when somebody comes to say that I have committed the crime, immediately that person cannot. We don't even need any evidence to establish his culpability. Well, because when he admission constitutes the commission,
but in
and therefore that person comes to say that I have committed the crime.
The Attorney General, OSP, say these accused persons approach their office. They don't go coercing them or
I am even going to speak about that. If it is the case that they themselves voluntarily go to the Attorney General's office to surrender and be considered as witnesses, how about all of us going and saying that, well, we are also submitting ourselves. We also want to be prosecution witnesses. All of us go there. So where will be the trial?
No, you see, if I may, if I may respond, because you see, in fact, there are instances where the Attorney General
actually asking a question.
No, you see, Honorable, there are instances where the Attorney General himself goes to, so you come to Akofi. This matter, I've mentioned your name. This is what we have against you. But if you can help us unravel the facts around Honorable Apiakubi, we'll be willing to either reduce your sentence or let you walk free. So, and I've told you that, you see, sometimes you may have strong basis to believe that wrongdoing has occurred, but the evidence to prosecute may have been well concealed. So you need an insider to help you untie.
So the insider is the person who has admitted the crime.
Yes, if that is the only way. You see, if that is the, you see, and sometimes, for instance, again, let me use, I beg your pardon. So, for instance, Kofi is alleged to, and Kofi, pardon me.
And then you
Kofi is alleged to have stolen this pen. Kofi is alleged to have stolen this pen. It costs 1 cedi. But Martin is alleged in the same criminal circle to have stolen this laptop. It costs 2 million cedis. So the case that if I sacrifice this 10 cedis, I can get the 2 million.
Unfortunately, that is not the case we are facing.
How so?
No. The person who comes to tell you that I stole this phone.
Yes, but he is helping the state.
You see,
the main culprit.
He is the main culprit, and he has admitted.
This case.
And he says that, oh, and the Apiakubi even told me that you have a phone that I can steal. Then you drop the person who has stolen, who has admitted.
No, that you collect the money.
That would be Netflix. I thought that normally they go for the bigger fish.
No. So the scenario you're painting is not the correct one. I am complaining about.
Okay.
And I'm saying that anybody who admits that he is the culprit, and I have an abettor, for better word.
Co-conspirator.
So I say I have an abettor.
Or co-conspirator.
No, even co-conspirator is close, but an abettor.
Okay,
yes,
crime. Okay.
I'm an abettor. I am prepared to submit myself to you as a prosecution witness, but come to prosecute the abettor, and I'll provide evidence against him. In that case, how fair is the law on the abettor versus the person who commits the crime?
Okay, thank you.
That's a cross-examination will do a lot of
Gentlemen, hold on.
Thank you.
It is an intervention that he wanted to make.
Taking this whole thing to the court. We are not in the court. The fact is that on this case, it's not only here. In other jurisdictions, the U.S., prosecutors can look for one of the criminals to turn around to be a witness against. It's done. But see, they have to weigh the evidence you have.
Yes.
Before they make all these decisions. So that's all right. So if it's happening here, if you have a problem with how they make the determination,
no. I'm saying that
they can.
But
let me get on to the oral thing, because that's I haven't made a word on that. No. Wait.
Anyway,
Just a minute. He's not control you. I'm going to control you. I'm sorry, my friend.
Stay on that point. On the oral.
Yeah.
And
but that's
the responses that we have heard so far as to what the direction is and what is being done so far as against the concerns about the pace of it being slow and not being lesser than what was promised. Prof.
There's no doubt, and I listened to my good friend Felix carefully, of course, and all the friends here. Out there in the public, there's a strong perception that the oral is kind of on the quiet. Just to do, I won't use the word dead, but it's on the quiet. That's the strong perception. And people who are championing or supporting you are frustrated. There's no question at all about that. But what I want to say, in addition, you see, at times, the politicians themselves make us feel strongly that, in fact, there is serious corruption in our midst. I have never gone out to point out anyone who is corrupt. It's the politicians who go out there and point to each other that they are corrupt. Now, towards the 2016 election, NPP in opposition then did a great job in tagging, branding the NDC as corrupt. And to a large extent, I think the victory of the NPP, it was one of the reasons for the victory. That is clear. Then in 2024, I think the NDC became clever or cleverer in branding corruption on the opposition. Not that there were no cases, but they were clever in the way they branded, including this oral thing. So with that, they also disposed of the NPP. So clearly, the two parties are all deep in corruption. Now, when they come to power, it's what the problem is. Do they stand by their allegations and do what is needful in terms of getting people prosecuted? That's what the problem is. Because after the 2016 election, there were a lot of talks about prosecuting people. As I sit here, I cannot recall, if you are lawyers, so if you can recall any incident where any NDC person was successfully prosecuted.
Oh, yeah. There were a number. The NCA case, okay, the venture capital case, Lawyer Lassie and Co., right?
They were convicted.
Yes, done.
That's during the NPP time.
Yes, the NCA case had 5. The former deputy national security coordinator, Alaji Osman Mimina, right? KTV, Bafuboni.
Yes.
So
now the frustration is that
Lawyer Lassie and Co.
Right.
Venture capital.
So currently the frustration is what? Is that you are not fast in prosecuting others?
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yes.
And we all know that the wheel of justice, you guys will tell us, runs slowly.
Yeah.
But I think, to a large extent, there was this exaggerated allegations that you guys made. That's why people are questioning the oral. Because if you come to the order, it's if or no if. The impression was that about $21 billion dollars may be collected.
Prof, and it's not the oral committee. It was Okujeto in his personal capacity.
But he spoke on behalf of the committee.
Oh, no. This is personal. I'm a lawyer. Did you hear me say that? I can never make such a statement. I can't.
Who said it?
The oral committee. No, it wasn't the oral committee. It's his personal statement.
That you said on the same committee.
Yes, no, but please, it's his personal statement. Oh, I'm a lawyer. Did you hear me say that?
Somebody made allegation that people are transferring money into other jurisdictions. Martin was on the panel.
Yes, that one I
supported that profusely.
Yes.
So Martin cannot, take it.
That was making an allegation. The government has not said that.
So Martin will have to say sorry for the position I took.
There's a point that Pastor Alpha makes, which I want a response from.
Sure.
That you tend to label or go on this campaign of corruption
concluding that
to win an election because you just like how gentlemen, please, just like he referenced how President John Mahama was accused of corruption by the actual administration, and that Ghanaians voted them into power, and then when they come in, he walks quickly clean, comes back and win an election again, and you went on this corruption campaign, and clearly Ghanaians believed in this oral, and it appears it's just for the politics of things. There isn't much to do when it comes to executing this campaign of corruption. That's the point.
But what I've just recounted to you here, the facts I've given you cannot support such an assertion. You see, there's a political football that we play. I spoke to you about what they said about President Mahama. They said that he owned hotels in Dubai, and all of that. In 8 years, he was in this country. In fact, they even called him names in the Airbus matter.
Attitude is not good.
No, I'm coming. I'm making a point. If you let me land, please. Even in the Airbus matter, they called him names and said all manner of things about him. He stayed in this country for 8 years. Absolutely nothing was found against him. He even won elections again. Of course, on the NDC side, things have been said. But that is not what oral was. Oral deals with specific cases. It is documented. It has gone through a certain process, and that process is on fold. I have given you a report on where everything is. So we must separate regular political jousting, verbal jousting. Yeah, he has done this, he has done that, from a process that is outlined. This process, the MPP2 has gone through. After all they said about the NDC, they put a number of people before court, didn't they? So, they secure conviction in some worked.
So going forward,
no
parties.
Is it Honorable Apia could be? Yes. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure that politicking will stop today or will stop tomorrow. It's not even in Ghana alone.
We must
of course, we must try to do better. Exactly. We must try to do better. Agreed. Yes. But there's politics and then there is fact. So when you are analyzing, you must look at the facts. What has happened under oral? Is it fair in the light of what has happened and the briefing I've given you this morning to say that oral is dead and that there's no prosecution? No. Prof, that is separate from the political games that we play. Yes.
The MPP cannot be underestimated. You know it, I know it.
The MPP of Darocha, Sakiskek, Victor Owusu, Kofi Buzia, Professor Edubuahe, Alajete, J.A. Kufuor, those men of value, those men of integrity are not what we have today. I tell you without mincing words, the 5 people who are contesting, wanting to be flag bearers, are just sankwas. I tell you without mincing words, the 5 people who are contesting, wanting to be flag bearers, are just sankwas. I tell you without mincing words,